What's up guys, Tom Shepard here with Daniel DeBrock at the Elite FTS compound. We just want to make a video for you on finding your optimal bench press grip. Now, this video is intended as kind of a starting point to give you a ballpark figure of where your best grip is going to be. Then you would experiment from that point. But a lot of people don't even know where to start, and you'll just have generic guidelines like pinky finger on the power ring and things like that, which doesn't take into account your muscle mass, your limb lengths, your mobility, and all that kind of thing. So what we're generally going to look for is as many stacked joints as humanly possible. Namely, in this circumstance, we're looking for the elbow to be under the wrist when we view up the bench and also when we view from the side. So what we're going to have Dan do now is set up and take a purposely very narrow grip, like a super close grip. And what we'll see is when he touches down on his chest, his shoulders are going to be internally rotated, and we can see that his wrist is inside his elbow, so they are angled inwards like that. So that internally rotated shoulder position is not a particularly strong position. Yes, it's going to isolate the triceps very well, but it's also going to extend the range of motion significantly that he has to go to reach his chest. So if we rack the bar now, and we have him put his hand out, let's just say pinky finger on the power ring for argument's sake, he's now going to have a higher touch point up his chest because his elbows are going to be flared out wider. But now when we come to the bottom, if I look at him from the side, his elbow is directly underneath his wrist. And now, near his dam, his elbow is also directly under his wrist when viewed from the bottom of the bench. So that means he doesn't have to travel as far now because in vertical space, his forearm is longer and up. So if Dan was like a beginner lifter, that would probably be the grip we would ask him to use because it's the best blend of stability and good leverages. Now, if we rack the bar again and we go out to say max legal grip, so index finger on that ring, what we're going to see now is the forearms are going to be angled outwards. He's going to be in a more externally rotated position, and his elbow now is just inside his wrist, which for him is going to be a pretty strong position. But what we need to be aware of is the further inside the wrist this elbow joint goes, the harder it is to stabilize the shoulder joint with the upper back, and the more difficult it's going to be to maintain your bar path. So whilst for Dan, this is going to cut down his range of motion and put more stress on his pecs, if he doesn't have the prerequisite motor control and shoulder stability to stabilize this position, then it's going to be less effective for him and press up. So that's why it's important to play around with your grip over time. And for someone like Daniel, if he cuts down in a weight class or goes up in a weight class, his rib cage and his pecs get bigger or anything like that, and his range of motion changes, that optimal grip is generally going to change. The smaller you're going to be, or the smaller your rib cage is, generally you're going to need a narrower grip, whereas the bigger you get and the more your range of motion gets cut down naturally, the bigger the chances that you can get away with a wider grip.